Welcome back to Straight Facts. I'm joined by the Don Hassam. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Big up Straight Facts again. Great, one of my favorite shows on the week to do. Big up to the Terrace comments as well. Make sure you guys are liking. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. And yeah, let's get to it. We've got a lot to talk about today.
There is. Obviously, we know that Urian Timber and Rice will complete their moves to Arsenal today. Getting to Sam's views on all of that. What's next for Arsenal, though? Lavia, Diaby linked to them. We're taking a look at United, who have got an imminent arrival, it feels, of Onana and a new bid going in for Hojlund. We're taking a look at Chelsea. Why so slow with the Caicedo deal? They're also linked to Dybala now as well. I am going to ask Sam about Liverpool because I don't know what the hell's going on there. Again, another very quiet week from their point of view. And we've got a few videos to react to as well today. A bit of Rio Ferdinand giving it out to a man like Jamie Carragher, and Johnny Minerals, a Chelsea fan, has had the ultimate meltdown, and we're going to be playing them on the show as well for you today. But by the way, big up Pav for renewing his membership with the Football Terrace as a legend and super fan. Thank you, Pav. I appreciate that. But I want to ask you first about Liverpool, because you got Szoboszlai last week. There were some links to Lavia and whatever else. But again, it's gone very quiet on the home front for Liverpool, unless I've missed it. What is going on as far as you're aware in terms of Liverpool with more incomings to improve that squad for the title push next year?
I mean, the Liverpool currently, I even did a Liverpool thing on my channel yesterday, and it's just a lot of it is kind of like maybe talking a little bit about the same players. Probably the most recent update, is probably that we're off Thuram right now. So the Thuram deal is kind of off because we're looking elsewhere, which probably makes sense, to be honest. Like Szoboszlai and Thuram kind of do have. I don't want to be a tactical. I do not want to be a tactical, but they do kind of have similar profiles. Like as in, they kind of do a lot of the same thing. Szoboszlai, I think, is a higher quality version of Thuram. So I think it probably makes sense that we're looking elsewhere in terms of like Lavia, looking at the DM. For some reason, I do not know what the reason is. This is probably what Terry and other United fans felt 10 years ago when they got linked to Sergio Ramos like every single transfer window. For some reason, we're getting linked to Mbappe again, which makes zero sense to me. I have no idea how this whole Mbappe to Liverpool thing is a thing. Yesterday, you know what I told them? There's literally one scenario in which Mbappe becomes a Liverpool player, right? Let's just cut the BS. Let's just say it as it is. The one way in which Mbappe could become a Liverpool player is if Nike go like, we're going to pay 150 million of that Mbappe money because we want Mbappe to be a Liverpool player, and we're going to promote the shirt, and like, unless like Nike get involved or some like crazy major player get involved in it, ain't nothing going to happen Mbappe related. So like, I'm going to be honest with you. You go to John W. Henry, you tell him you're going to pay Mbappe 1 million a week. Guy probably going to like, he's just probably going to, he's probably going to faint. And I see someone in the comments saying if he's coming to the Prem, he's coming to Arsenal. Here's the thing. Arsenal fans, me and you don't have beef. I don't have beef with you guys. But please know your place. You're not us yet. Just guys, you're not City. You're not Liverpool. You're not that guy. I promise you. Rome wasn't built in a day. You had one good season. Does not mean now that you're going to attract Mbappe. Honestly, Mbappe, like, come on, bro. Just chill out. Arsenal fans, sometimes you guys just doing too much. Relax, yeah. You guys, man, saying he's coming Arsenal. Our problem is not pull. Our problem is money. That's our problem. Even the Szoboszlai deal, we actually pulled out a loan to get it done. Now, personally, I have no problem with that. I'd rather them pull out a loan and spend money than not spend money at all. So, like, okay, spend money. But would they pull out a 250 million pound loan? I doubt it. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I saw the news. There's a journalist, I think his name's Edu Aguirre or something, and he said that you're going to launch a 200 million pound offer. We've seen Miguel Delaney today say that Arsenal are the favourites for Mbappe if he was to come to England. They're the most preferred destination of him. He does then go on to say that Arsenal don't have the money to get it done. The thing is, though, I don't think there is a lack of money to get Mbappe done. And I say that because Mbappe brings in so much money with him. He's not just like, we've got stars at our clubs, Mo Salah's, Rashford, Saka's. Mbappe, forget football ability for a minute. In terms of stardom and fame, he is just another level, and he's young as well. He isn't like signing an old Messi or an old Ronaldo. This is a man that's going to probably genuinely help you win. Because no disrespect to Messi and Ronaldo now, if Liverpool signed them, if Arsenal signed them, Man United signed them, Messi would probably help you to a certain degree. But there's a reason that they've gone to the MLS and Saudi Arabia. Mbappe is different. He's going to help you win the major trophies. The endorsements are going to be massive. But yeah, you don't see it then. You don't see Liverpool putting in this bid for Mbappe. You don't think it'll happen?
Yeah, like the other thing we're talking about is like Levi Colwill, and we're like, Colwill's too much money. Apparently, there's people saying maybe Lavia's a bit too much as well if they're asking for 50 million. So just logically speaking, Lavia and Colwill put together is less than Mbappe's price tag, and we're saying it's too much. So like, it's just like I've got to, like. Listen, I know it's straight facts, mocks the idea that people say what they're saying is facts because it's all opinion. But at the point in time, like, we've got to at least be honest with this whole thing. Like, Mbappe, come on, man. Like, it's just, I've always said this. Unless some major player gets involved, I don't see it happening. Because do I think Liverpool Football Club are attractive enough for Mbappe to play? Absolutely. Liverpool Football Club can attract Mbappe. Can we afford Mbappe? Even that, I'd say yes. But do we put the money up? Is it the quote-unquote Liverpool way? I'd say no. This is why I'm saying if Nike, who are our sponsors, call up John W. and is like, we want to sponsor this deal, we want to do this, we want to do that, with shirt sales, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it might happen. Other than that, it's just, I'm going to be honest with you, it's just like it's a dream world. Even with the Colwill thing, like, you look at it, I was speaking to a Chelsea journalist, actually, I think it was like a week ago, and he even confirmed to me, okay, Liverpool do want Colwill, but the problem is Brighton wanted him even before we wanted him, but the issue remains the same. Chelsea are asking for too much money. They're asking for a world record fee, 80 million, 90 million, 70 million, whatever.
Wow.
We're not going to pay that for a youngster.
No, you're not. There's a comment here from Zane, an Arsenal fan and long-time viewer of the Terrace. He says, Rice and Timber and now Arsenal is the #1 destination for Mbappe if he comes to England, he admitted. He then
Zane, when you say he admitted, like, where is this? Like, can you, like, I'm going to be honest with you, people just be making up shit on the social media thing. Like, did you speak to Mbappe personally and he said Arsenal? Guys, like, I'm not being delusional. Guys, Terry hates Liverpool more than he hates Arsenal. Even he agreed with me last week. He's like, bro, okay, yeah, right now as things stand, of course Liverpool have a bigger pull. Zayn, let me tell you why. Okay, once again, for the people at the back. Guys, we are managed by Jurgen Klopp. We've got 5-6 world-class players. We've had more. Just because you're in the Champions League does not make you, by definition, more attractive. Because using that logic, Newcastle are more attractive than Chelsea. Newcastle are more attractive than Liverpool. They got Champions League football. Quote unquote, the project is exciting. Liverpool is 100% the second most attractive club in this country to go to. Being attractive does not equal spending money. Pull does not mean that, like, we just don't spend the money. We need to spend it. However, that does not mean you have more pull than us. Mbappe right now would rather play for Liverpool in the conference than he would Arsenal in the champs. Like, let's get this right. Come on, man. These Arsenal fans, bro.
Zayn also comes back and says Arsenal invincibles, better stadium. When Klopp leaves, you go back to being top 6 team like Spurs.
Zayn, that's a fantastic comment. And thank you for the super chat, my brother. But you know, the Invincibles was 20 years ago. Arsene Wenger is no longer your manager. You don't employ Henry. You don't employ Vieira. You don't employ Ljungberg, Perez, Ashley Cole, Sol Campbell. These players are all not here anymore. So, like, it's just, you know, the reverse of this would be what, Zayn? It would be like me going like, Liverpool are 6-time Champions League winners. Liverpool are, have got Kenny Dalglish. Like, bro, this is like from a long time ago. 20 years ago, you were invincible. 20 years ago, you had all of that. Not anymore. Like, it's just, this is 2023. Join us in the new year.
I will, in fairness, it was Miguel Delaney that's put this claim out that Arsenal would be his preferred destination. I think it's all in connection to his love of Henry, following Henry's footsteps. But just put it bluntly, Mbappe, if he was coming to the Prem, would go to the club paying him the most amount of money, in my opinion. And a good project, of course. You have to be in a good position as an example. But I think money would play a big part. But when did Liverpool go back to pre-season? When did your pre-season start?
We're playing Karlsruhe, I think, on the 19th of July, if I'm not mistaken. So I think in 12 days.
Are the players, when are your players back to training?
I swear, I think they're back to training next week. Next week, they're back to training. So, Yeah, they're gonna be running on them treadmills.
How are you feeling then, though? Are you feeling like you've done enough business so far, or are you starting to get a little nervous? The Premier League kicks off in like 4 weeks' time. Are you ready for the start?
Listen, Szoboszlai and McAllister are massive upgrades on what we had in midfield this season. I'm not in denial. You know, sometimes, I respect Terry's platform, right? So sometimes I don't want to call out people by name. But like yesterday, I just kind of went on a rant against like a Liverpool journalist. It's so like, listen, our Liverpool journalists have absolutely zero objectivity when it comes to
the name out. It's fine, mate, because
James Pearce is the biggest idiot known to mankind because people need to learn from their mistakes. If I go punch Terry and he punches me back and knocks me out, I'm not going to punch him again because I know he's going to knock me out. You have to be smart in life. Last summer, he put out an article going like, Liverpool have nothing to worry about. No sagas to resolve. No more signings needed. Liverpool are going to come back. We finished 5th. We signed Szoboszlai and McAllister, and this guy's putting out similar articles. We've got 9 midfielders. We've got 9. He's counting the likes of Bajcetic and Morton and Henderson and these guys. I'm like, guys, when do we actually sit back and have an objective conversation about Liverpool Football Club? When? Thiago Alcantara is fantastic, but he's made from Weetabix. Henderson is crap. He's not being disrespected. We're not going OTT. He's just shit. He's just not good enough anymore. We can't criticize Klopp for being sentimental and then be sentimental ourselves and just try to hug everyone. Henderson's not good enough. Curtis Jones is killing it in the under-21s. You know who also killed it in the young man game? Dominic Solanke, Ryan Brewster. We saw how they both worked out for us. They're under-21 World Cup winners, not just Euros. Oh my God, hey, look, Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott are killing it in the under-21s. Who gives a shit? We're talking about the grown man game now. Grown man game is different. Use our own club. Bajcetic, who's built like a twig, he's a fantastic footballer, plays as a centre back in the academy. He plays like a centre back. He plays centre back. Can you imagine Stefan Bajcetic, who weighs 30 kilograms, playing against Mikel Antonio, what he'd do to him? We have to be realistic. The likes of James Pearce, FSG kiss asses, FSG bootlickers, people who just are seeking exclusivity from the club, they are the problem because they come out and they just say the same exact shit over and over and over and over. It is never about quantity, it's about quality because we have finished 5th. Let's count last summer how many midfielders Liverpool had. Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, Keita, Ox, Milner, Curtis, Harvey, Arthur Melo. Hey, guess what, James? We had 9 midfielders last summer too. Yet we absolutely sucked because it's about quality. I would trade 6 of those midfielders just for one Gundogan. I trade 6 of them just for one Gundogan because it's about the quality. Because when Bernardo Silva is going through a bad run or he's injured and you bring in Gundogan, you don't feel a difference. Whereas for us, when Thiago gets injured and I bring in a Milner or a Keita or a Ox, I'm like, there's levels to this game. So Szoboszlai and McAllister are a fantastic step. That doesn't mean I have to sit here and stop now. I've got to go get Romeo Lavia. Now I'm okay. Midfield rebuild complete. I've got my DM. I've got my forward-thinking guy in Szoboszlai. I've got my quote-unquote ball carrier, the guy who keeps the ball in McAllister. I've rebuilt the midfield. But don't come to me now and already have the excuses lined up like, hey guys, we signed Szoboszlai and McAllister. You can't be complaining. You can't be moaning. Some people want to moan all the time. You damn right I'm going to moan. We finished 5th after chasing a quadruple. If I can't moan now, there's no other time for me to moan. So people have to be real about this Liverpool Football Club situation. People are in love with buzzwords, and it triggers me. Rebuild, transition, phase 2, phase this. Screw all of this. I've got Salah, I've got Van Dijk, Trent, Alisson. I've got 5-6 world-class players. Let's sign players, and let's go win this league title. All this extra BS, just spices on top of something. Like it's just they bring water, put spices on it, and they think it's going to be food. It doesn't work like this. Szoboszlai, McAllister, fantastic start. Get me the centre back, get me the midfielder, and let's just go and win this league, man. It's just so dumb. It's just all these journalists. I swear to you, sometimes I want to fight these people. I swear. This James Pearce guy, he gets on my last nerve. Honestly, this guy, he's the worst journalist in history of all time.
This is his big up for Sam. What players do you think we need now?
We need a DM and we need a centre back. That's what we need. And if you don't want to get a DM, I've got no problem with that, but get me another midfielder. The reason why I want another midfielder is Henderson's unplayable. He's shit. I'm not going to rely on him. Thiago Alcantara is made from Weetabix. Fabinho, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I need 3 starters, essentially. So for me, I've got essentially in my mind Lavia, McAllister, Soboslai, and then I've got Fabinho and Thiago. And this might surprise people, but with new evidence comes new opinions. Curtis Jones, I'm not going to say has won me over, but Curtis Jones in these last 10 games has shown me he could be a solid rotation option. I'm going to call out more people. People are posting his stats from the under 21 and going like, oh, look at our star boy Curtis Jones. If he was signed from Porto for 60 million, we would all be celebrating him. But because his name's, it has nothing to do with the name. Trent Alexander-Arnold has the most English name of all time. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like, it cannot be more English than that. And we all love him because he's quality. It's about quality. Curtis Jones is a rotational option. You want to rest McAllister against Luton Town? Play Curtis Jones. I've got no problem. But don't come sell him to me like he's some sort of starter that's going to take us to the top. He won't. So, yeah.
This here from Satchin says, big up for Sam. What's your realistic expectation for Liverpool?
Big up, Sachev. I'm going to be honest with you. We've got to maintain standards at this football club. We haven't won a league or a Champions League since 2020. So my expectation is to win the league. I want us to win the league, and I think we're capable of doing that. It's just about being serious. Simple as that in this summer transfer window.
Yeah, I hear you. This year says, with respect, I think attractiveness is fluid. Yes, you're Liverpool, but no Champions League is a hit. Still, Arsenal bought Partey with no European football.
Neto. Liverpool bought Luis Suarez with no European football. Like, we can always bring up examples. You know, Arsenal fans, my problem with you is what? You guys are just so fucking emotional. Like, you are just so emotional. You're so insecure about your football club. I'm not even insulting your football club. I'm praising you. But if you come to me 10 years ago, when in 13-14 Liverpool finished second, I wouldn't have come here and went like, oh my God, our project is so attractive or more attractive than Arsenal 10 years ago. I wouldn't have said that because I know Arsene Wenger is a better manager than Rodgers. I knew that overall your team was a lot better than our team. So you would be a more attractive player for you guys to sign. That's why in the summer, you guys were linked to Benzema and Higuain and we signed Lambert. So with all due respect, there's attraction levels. And in my entire lifetime, Arsenal were more attractive than Liverpool. I hold my hands up. Until these last 5 years. So just for 5 years out of my 28 years of life, Liverpool were more attractive. You don't have to get triggered because of 5 out of 28. Unbelievable, bro.
Yeah, look, I think, look, I don't think Liverpool have lost any real attractiveness because of one poor season. I do agree with that. By the way, I think Arsenal have become even more attractive, but I don't think that Liverpool have lost out any attractiveness at all, really. But there are players that if Liverpool were the best team in England, would still have picked other teams over them because everyone's got different motivations. And, you look at Kim Min-jae, he could have come to the Premier League, but he's like, no, I want Bayern Munich. And I think Bayern Munich are a massive club. They're in a great position, but it's a one-horse race league. Man could have come to the Prem, but he was motivated by something very, very, very different indeed. So I think we have to consider that. Moving on
Some
to Man
people are
United.
motivated by money as well, for example.
No, I totally agree. Moving on, there's a little bit of breaking news that just come out. Now, this is from media outlets in Italy and Atalanta based. They have claimed that Mason Greenwood has agreed, and I want to make sure I read this right. Mason Greenwood, I want to read this here, has reached an agreement with Atalanta. He will go to Bergamo on Tuesday. He said no to Juve to join Atalanta. That is what is being claimed, that Mason Greenwood is about to join Atalanta. I know a lot of people don't want him to play football anymore, but it looks like that loan's going out. That's probably going to be helped in some way, shape, or form for Man United to get Hojlund. Thoughts on Mason Greenwood joining Atalanta?
I mean, I would be one of the people with that mindset, kind of like, I don't want him to play football anymore. But it is what it is, like life. I don't want to go like start speaking about that specific topic because it's a sensitive thing. But if he was to play football, I always thought like, okay, if he wasn't, he isn't gonna play for. I always thought Greenwood was never gonna play for Man United again. I always knew, because listen, whether we like it or not, these clubs care about PR to the utmost degree. So they're never gonna accept someone with kind of that much baggage playing for their football club. I always thought there were kind of two maybe escape routes for Greenwood. either he plays maybe for a lower league club in England, but then even then maybe that would get backlash, or he would have to play outside England. And I think like a move outside England probably makes the most sense for this entire situation. It's a horrible situation for everyone to get involved in. I don't want to sit here and speculate and say anything. It is what it is. It's up to, like, it's not up to me to decide anything. But I think it makes sense. And if it's gonna pave the way for Hojlund to join Man United, then from purely a footballing perspective, it is a little bit of a masterstroke, because you've hit two birds with one stone. You kind of have got rid of all this baggage, all this, like, off the pitch kind of stuff that's been going on. And you've gotten Hojlund in. So yeah, if it helps you get that, and we all know the whole rejected Juve thing, it's just the extra spice that everyone adds. Like, it's just Mason Mount rejected Liverpool to join Man United. Like, it's just, come on, man. Like,
every time Liverpool sign a player, one of the James Pearces of this world, they all do a Man United somewhere in their article. They mention Man United being involved. Even the Timber thing. Man United didn't go in for Timber this year, but Arsenal press is saying he turned down United for Arsenal. No, he turned us down last year because he wasn't guaranteed a first team place, and if he wasn't playing first team football, he wasn't going to the World Cup. That's it. So
that was the Van Gaal thing, right?
Yeah, so it had nothing to do with turning us down for Arsenal. He turned us down because the manager said, you're not guaranteed to start games. Lissandro and Varane are my main two. And he said, I'll stay here then. But the way some of them have put it in the stories, in the articles, it alludes to that. But it's like, you have no why are you putting Man? I know maybe that journalist, maybe that newspaper can't get the clicks without mentioning Man United, but it's kind of a weird one to me. But look, I'm someone who doesn't want Greenwood back in the Man United shirt. I slightly disagree with you though on the PR thing. If he starts scoring goals at Atalanta, he'll play for Man United again. And if he has a year of playing football, he keeps his nose clean, doesn't get into trouble, the club will turn all of that into we know what he did was wrong. We know, the videos, the voice notes, the way he behaved. But I know exactly how to spin it. He's turned his life around. He's had counseling. If they've got any brains, this is what they'll do. He's now helping other young men that are angry and have done these things to turn their lives around. Look, we see it in the UK. People go to prison for like selling drugs and stabbing up a kid. They come out after 5 years, then they start doing anti-knife crime, and then they get knighted by the Queen or the King. So we see it in those areas. That is exactly how Man United will do this. He'll become an ambassador for it to stop more. That's how they get around it, because they do it. When a celebrity like knocks someone over.
You really think he'd play for United again?
Yeah, I think he will. Like, doesn't mean I agree with it, and I'm not defending it. But if he goes to Atalanta and bangs in 25 goals this year, Man United bring him back 110%. He'll bring him back. And
fair, I hear you. Listen, I think both things.
Look, people say that there's a women's team, and listen, and I get all of that. If he goes to Atalanta and looks really poor, maybe some people won't care. I'm not saying this for sympathy. If all the stress, because whether he's guilty or innocent, whether you like him or you don't, there's a mental strain that's gone on him through this. That mental strain has broken him, and he just can't get back to being the footballer he was, and he's awful. The club won't care. It's a bit like your situation at Liverpool all those years ago with Suarez. If Suarez was a bang average bench player, he'd have been sacked. But because he was Luis Suarez, one of the best players in the world, the club worked around him. Now, you guys got that peak. You guys got everything wrong with how you handled that, but it was because he was a brilliant player. And I think it always comes down to how good the world shows us this. There are certain actors and singers and whoever else have done madnesses, but they're selling records. Like, put it this way: if R. Kelly was still selling tens of millions of records, he wouldn't be in prison right now. He's only in prison because he stopped becoming valuable to the people that matter. And that's
not relevant enough, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so if he gets back to playing football, he's gonna play for Man United.
That's why the loan is a smart move. Because if he even if he bangs in goals and you don't want to bring him back, you can still sell him for money to Italy, like something like that. So like the loan is probably gonna be the best scenario for Manchester United for this entire.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dom here says Suarez didn't do what Mason Greenwood did. No, he didn't. And I'm not getting into a competition over what is the worst crime to commit. But for me, racism, assaulting a woman, touching shield, all these things are in a category for me of unforgivable. So I'm not saying one. I'm not going to get into an argument which one's worse than the other. They are all utterly disgusting, and I believe if a player commits them, they should be gone. They should be sacked by their football club. So that's the only point I'm making, and there isn't a whataboutism that your player did this and this guy did that. I'm just
let's not point score. I agree.
Exactly. My point is that we PR around it, and you can do it the wrong way, you can do it the right way. Man United will just go around this, and I know exactly how to do it, and a lot of people will buy into it as well. By the way, a lot of people will buy into it, and it is what it is. In terms of
this means Hojlund's heading the other way, though, right?
I was about to say Hojlund. Like Hojlund looks like it's going to happen now. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm excited about Hojlund to Man United.
I'm not going to say anything crazy, but
go on.
This is a step down. This is a step down for Man United on what was expected of, like they even expected this summer transfer window. Like you go from Harry Kane level, like that level of player, to like Hojlund. I don't know, man. Like Hojlund is it's a risk. It's either he could bang and he could not bang. Like I'm not gonna sit up here and say, that oh my god, it's all done and he's crap and he's gonna suck at Man United. I'm not gonna say any of that, but I don't think. I really don't think this is like an unbelievable signing or a great signing or anything. The one thing is, from Man United's perspective, is because their strikers have been so inconsistent and so like kind of up and down, like the Martials and these players. Like anyone is a little bit of any upgrade is kind of an upgrade, if you get what I'm saying. So even if like Hojlund scores 15 goals, he still is. I mean, okay, maybe 15 is a bit too less, but like if he scores 16 Prem goals, 17 Prem goals, everyone's going to look at him as a success, to be fair. Like everyone's going to go like, yeah, this is a good record for him. So I just don't know, man. Hojlund's a massive risk. Ten Hag is kind of all over the place, trying to be Klopp, trying to be Pep. It just makes no sense. Like
what do you mean? What do you mean he's trying to be Pep and Klopp? What's he doing that's like you two?
He's signing Mount, who's clearly a Klopp style type of player. Onana's like more a Pep style kind of player. And I think Ten Hag is confused a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm saying this is genuine, objective criticism. I honestly think Ten Hag's confused. I'm being I really don't think Ten Hag knows what he wants to do. I'm being dead serious right now. I really don't know how he's going to implement this whole thing. I'm not even doing agendas like Hojlund, Mount, and then you sign Onana, which are kind of polar opposites in playing style. The reason why you sold De Gea to begin with is because Onana is a ball-playing keeper, which shows that you're going to play a more possession-type system. But Mason Mount doesn't fit a possession-type system. He's a lot stronger when it comes to counter-attacking. And then you look at Hojlund, you're like, okay, how's he going to fit next to Rashford and Anthony? So it's kind of all over the place. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he's just confused.
Yeah, I don't think he's confused at all. I mean, he wanted Mason Mount 4 years ago. When Mason Mount was playing in the Netherlands. So this is a player that he's always rated. He believes he can get something out of him that maybe Chelsea haven't been able to advance on, as an example. You're confused about how we're going to play, but you were confused at the beginning of last season. I put the tweet up a few months ago about your prediction about Man United and how the style of play won't develop. United will be nowhere near the top 4. We won't win any trophies. So you said the same thing last year and got it completely wrong. So, like, forgive me for, I know you're speaking your straight facts, but allow me to clap back a little bit here. You're just projecting hope.
Of course.
You're projecting your hope, which is that it doesn't work for Man United. Why I like the hope.
I don't think it's hope.
No, you are hoping what you're saying is right. You don't believe it. You're hoping.
No, I do. I actually genuinely believe it. You know me, Terry. I genuinely believe it.
No,
I really do.
I disagree.
Forget the fact that I support Liverpool and my predictions and all this. Just from a football perspective, do you not agree that Onana and Mason Mount are like 180 degrees polar opposite type signings?
No, I don't.
But Onana is a ball-playing goalkeeper who's going to allow you to play possession style, while Mason Mount is a counter-attacking player at his best.
At the same time, but again, when we play counter-attack against 50, 60, 70% of the league, we will play possession-based football against them because we did that last year. But we now will do it with a better goalkeeper and a better midfielder in Mason Mount. We're also linked to signing somebody else alongside Mason Mount, as in not to play alongside him per se, but a player to come in as well. So let's wait and see who that is. That will be a more holding midfield player. So I'm not That's the bit you're ignoring in the story, that there's another piece of the jigsaw to come in. Equally, there are times where you need a goalkeeper with the passing range of Onana for the counter-attacks. When you get pressed high, someone that can dink a 30-yard ball into the middle to Mount, where there's loads of space for him to run and turn into, in the same way Inter did in parts against City in the Champions League final. So, yeah, I don't believe for a single second that they're complete polar opposites and they can't work together. But what I like about the signing, what I really like, is I've been asking for this for a lot of Man United fans lie. There's a lot of the Baller FC guys who for years have said online, why do we no, legit, and you know when I say no, they do, they lie, right?
I know for a fact that he can't stand those guys. I know.
No, but they lie.
He's talking about Pogba FC, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Baller FC,
Martial
right?
FC.
They lie, though. They lie because for years online, and you've heard them say this in spaces, they'll say, I just want Man United to start signing the non-obvious signings, the players that are not everybody else is linked to. And I actually agree. I love a player or two that's left the field that nobody was expecting. The problem is when you do that, there's a likelihood that it's a player that you weren't thinking about or you don't like. Typically, what those people actually mean is, I don't want obscure signings or non-obvious signings. I want the players I want. The problem is with Baller FC. Do you know how wrong they are and how regularly they're wrong? Baller FC. It's because they judge football purely based on how a player makes them feel. And half the time, that's nothing to do with their football. It's to do with the social element of the player. So how the player talks, the clothes they wear, the way they behave online, the way they carry themselves. It makes them feel a certain way. Some people are like that with singers and actors. It's more of a social thing than and a fashion thing, more fashionable than it is football. They're wrong about so much. I don't rate. I'm almost, honestly, I've almost got to the point now, where I stopped listening to their football opinions because they are so far wrong. It is unbelievable, right? These same Man United fans said last year, Donny will overtake Bruno in the Man United team this season. Watch. Didn't happen. They all said,
I heard that with my own ears.
You also heard Martial was going to go to this next level. You also heard that Rashford will be benched on the left-hand side for Jadon Sancho. You heard all these things. Oh, yeah. There's no way Luke Shaw gets back to his best. He'll be out of the team. There's no way AWB finds his way back into They got so much wrong. The only thing I believe they got right was their view on David De Gea. But strangely, they're the ones now out defending David De Gea for the treatment of the football club. It is radio rental. It is radio rental.
You can never win.
Really, really is. You can't.
I think the biggest problem for me with that type of, because I get into arguments with these guys a lot of the time. I think first of all they confuse aesthetically pleasing to watch with actual ability. Because I'll use my own player so people don't get rattled. I don't think Mo Salah's pleasing to watch. I don't think Mo Salah's aesthetically pleasing to watch. That does not mean that he can't pass, he can't dribble. Like, those are two different things. He looks a little bit awkward doing it. Like, it doesn't look as nice as a Hazard, for example, but that does not mean he cannot do it. When you look at, like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the statement I'm about to make, I feel like I need to apologize after saying it, but I genuinely was having a conversation 2 days ago in which someone said, I'm not even going to say their name, Pogba, based on ability, sits on the same table as Zidane. And it's just like certain statements people make, it just makes you question your inner soul, whether it's like right when it comes to football. Like, and for me, I've always said, look, when it comes to ability, yes, ability is fantastic, but it's about application of that ability. If a guy has 8 out of 10 ability, but plays 8 out of 10, 90% of the time, he's a very good player. But if a player has 10 out of 10 ability, but plays a 6, a 5, a 4, a 7, an 8, and is inconsistent, then you can't really be having them conversations. So, like, it's just this whole based on ability. Ability matters, but effect matters, how effective you are, consistency matters, even injuries matter when comparing players. Like, you need players who are available. Now, when it comes to the thing you said regarding the whole Mason Mount thing and all of that, you're right. United fans do say they want to sign maybe sometimes players that no one knows about, quote unquote, which is because they do say that. Hojlund would fit that bill, because no one, like, let's be real, no one went to the summer going like, oh my God, we should sign Hojlund. The only thing with these signings is they are a little bit of a risk, because, like, you know, when it comes to players like that, they either bang or they don't. I'll use my club again as an example, just so people don't get rattled. Naby Keita failed. Naby Keita is a flop. right? He's kind of like an unknown commodity. Takumi Minamino, I wouldn't say he had the best Liverpool career. The same with Divock Origi, the same with so many signings. But when you go, for example, to Mo Salah, to like a Robertson, to a Wijnaldum, players like they banged, not necessarily people's first choices. So you get it this way and you get it that way as well. But I still stick by it with Man United, my objective analysis that has nothing to do with
I understand that. On the whole, based on ability, but your football opinions aren't based on ability solely. They never have been, never will be. Ability is a very important element, but so is availability. So is your fitness, your stamina, your awareness, your consistency, your outputs, your trophies. All these things are what you judge people on, not just let's boil it all down to the one thing my guy's really good at. It's a nonsense. And again, I would take 11 Bruno Fernandez's at Man United over 11 Pogba's, of course, respective to their positions, because I think Pogba on ability and on the eye is definitely better than Bruno. But Bruno has been more consistent in our shirt and delivered more. And if you have 11 players that deliver consistently versus 11 players who deliver one in every 3 games, you're going to win more. And that's what, for me, growing up, that was what it was all about. And
100%.
you always know a Baller FC person generally when they're like, they mentioned their favorite footballer as a kid, and it wasn't a player that played for their team. That always stands out to me as a red flag about the way they support. Like, I love players at other teams, but my favorite players were always my players because the way they made me feel was what they did for my team. If you're loving a player of a rival's club more than your own, worries me about how you view football. But that's just me. It's a big red flag for me. We've got some super chats here. First one says, Hassam, players can adapt and improve, and am not a fan of Mount, but Onana, Hojlund, and Amrabat. I'm ecstatic. Yeah, look, if we bring in Amrabat, Hojlund, Onana, I think it's a brilliant window for Man United. I think,
but that's what I wanted to ask Terry. If you bring in Amrabat, who's going to the bench then?
I think it depends on who we play. Again, Man United won't. I'll use a famous example about your club, Liverpool. Genuinely, when you had your best team under Klopp, and you can all name it: Alisson, Trent, Robertson. It would have been Matip,
Van Dijk,
the midfield of Gini, Hendo, Fabinho, and the front three. We know who they are. There was in your best period with them, I remember reading a stat in a newspaper. They said in the last 60 games, they only started 4 of them, all of them together. And that was in your period of winning the Champions League and the Premier League. So I don't really think it matters. I think that starting in the team against the majority of the league, I think it's going to be Bruno, Mount, and Casemiro. However, when we're away or even at home against the better teams, Amrabat's coming into that team. Amrabat's going to start I think Amrabat would start games in the Cups as an example. And I think he'll push Casemiro very, very hard for a starting berth. I think there'll be times where we can go, right, Bruno, you play 4 games on the bounce. Mount, you're going into the attacking midfield role. Amrabat, Casemiro, you're playing together. Our problem is last year we struggled without Casemiro. And we burn Bruno out every year by playing him in 60-odd games. I'd love Bruno to play 15 games less this season, but have someone who's capable to come in.
Bruno's played too much football. You're right. 100%.
Yes, and I think if he plays less football, the reason why I think City were still firing on all cylinders at the end of last season was example being how often did we see Haaland taken off after 50, 60 minutes? That man was taken off that early 20 times this year. That gave him an extra 10 games at the highest level at the end of the season when it really mattered. And if
rotation matters 100%.
Rotation's key. So yeah, I like it a lot. This year says, sometimes I wonder if your guests are playing FIFA too much just because you buy players in certain positions. That's not allowed. That's not all football is. Mikel was shown his intelligence and the process behind it, even if it's triggering.
Okay, Tanu, keep this comment up on the screen. Tanu, first of all, thank you for your super chat, supporting the channel. Second of all, I don't play FIFA. Last time I played FIFA was FIFA 17, 6 years ago. Played Ultimate Team. I had 30 shots. The guy had 1 shot. I swore that I'll never play it again after it ended 1-1. I was like, this is too scripted, too rigged. So I just never played that game again. Third of all, once again, when it comes to the Arsenal fans, no one is saying anything negative about your club. But one bad season does not mean that you become a more attractive club to play for, because that's not how life works. As Terry said, certain players might have preferences. Certain players might prefer playing for Klopp over Pep. That's not an insult to Pep, it's just a preference. But when it comes to overall general rules, General rules, players would like to play for better managers alongside better players for better clubs. Don't tell me about your Invincibles 20 years ago. We've had more recent success. We have a better manager. We've got better players on paper. More players would want to play for Liverpool than Arsenal, and that's not an insult.
Thank you for the super chat, my guy. This guy is a clown based.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy I made you spend $5 because you're so annoyed. It means I'm doing my job properly. Big up to you.
This is personally, Liverpool have a certain pull due to their European winning heritage, something I'd love Arsenal to add in the near future.
Yep, more recent Champions League winners. That's a thing as well. 100%.
That's good. Sammy here says, not going to lie, this amazing Man United transfer window with Amrabat, Hojlund, and I don't know what the last bit's meant to say, is a bit underwhelming coming from a Moroccan. Rate Terry's confidence. So, yeah, and I understand that. I understand why some people would say it is underwhelming. But me and KJ have had a few conversations about this privately, and we both agree. I'm kind of excited because it isn't where so many times they haven't all flopped, but the vast majority of the signings Man United have made where we've gone, wow. I would say, looking at it now, Bruno wasn't a wow player because he wasn't someone that was seen as a star when he came in. Varane is the only one, and it took him a season because his first year was awful because the whole team was awful. He was brilliant last year. Who have been the star signings in the last 10 years? Zlatan was good when he came in.
Falcao.
The vast majority of the star names that we have signed in the last 10 years have not in any way, shape, or form delivered. So for
Falcao, Di Maria, you can name so many.
Casemiro was brilliant, of course. Casemiro was absolutely brilliant. Cavani did well, but I don't think Cavani, like you look back now, Cavani wasn't blowing our socks off. He wasn't. He was good. But the vast majority haven't done well. So I'm relaxed about it. I'm relaxed. I still want a bit more. And by the way, if the Qataris come in and we go and get Harry Kane as well, it's the sugar on top of the cherry, on top of the icing, on top of the cake. Like, there we go. I'd love my Qataris to come in. As a Gooner, I really hope the rest of the Prem turn up. City winning 4 on the bounce cannot happen. Listen, if we get those 4 Man United have mentioned, Man United are challenging for the Premier League next year. I know rivals don't like to hear it, but we will. Amrabat playing with Casemiro, Mount thrown in there, a striker, a proper number 9, and a goalkeeper that can play it from the back. We're going to be 15 points minimum better off next season. We'll get 15 points more. We had 15 points more into our coffers. We're in a title race. I truly, truly believe it. I truly believe it.
Fair enough. I don't.
You won't. You wouldn't. If we won the league, you'd say it was in a mirage.
If you won the league, I'd say City were crap that year.
Yeah, exactly. And Man United will challenge. If we get these signings in, if it's not Amrabat, someone of equal quality or better, we're going to challenge. I know we will.
You signed Kane, I would have said you would have challenged.
Maybe. I mean, if you add 15 points onto Man United's total from last year, we won the league. And I believe we can be 15 points better with a proper number 9, an improved midfield, and a goalie that plays out from the back. And our other players being better. I don't see... by the way, I don't see City getting more than 90, 95 points again next year. Do you know why? Because I think Liverpool and Chelsea and Man United and Newcastle are all going to be better. That means there's less... I think they'll get less points because the teams around them are all going to be better. So...
more competition, essentially.
Yes. When are we getting a show with Hassam, Lee Gunner, and Big Steve? I think we might do that in the next couple of weeks. Pav. Also, Saeed and me start our show next week as well. Sav is back on Sunday. So we've got a full team of Straight Facts people. All 6 of us will be getting on at some point in the near future as well. I'm an Arsenal fan. I agree with this guy that
Ten Hag,
doesn't sign the players needed most of the time. He's trying to sign Amrabat. You don't need him now. Again, I disagree. I think Man United do need him now, Abs, but I appreciate the super chat, brother. Arsenal fans believe we are going to be more attractive in the near term. You can disagree, but that's what we think. We'll see how the future...
Terry, why is the Arsenal fan so sensitive? Honestly, Terry, like, what I'm saying crazy or something? Like, it's not even wild. Like, it's not even wild. Arsenal fans, in the year 2000, Liverpool Football Club won 5 trophies, not 1. We won 5 trophies. Okay. There was no league in champs, so we won 5 trophies. That season, Arsenal didn't win the league and they finished 3rd. We finished above Arsenal in the English Premier League. But I would be silly if we were on the terrace back in that time to come up here and say that Liverpool Football Club are more attractive than Arsenal with Henry, with Vieira, with Arsene Wenger. I don't understand how you're telling me Arsenal when I've got Klopp, I've got 5, 6 Liverpool players who are world class. I've got more recent success. You can't keep mentioning this just based on this season. No player is going to join a club based on one season, because if that were the logic, in 13-14 Liverpool would have signed so many good players. In 08-09 Liverpool would have signed so many good players. The years where we finished second, we signed so many good players. Like, it's just, that's not how life works. The entirety, you have to look at the entirety of the thing. Klopp is a better manager than Arteta. Salah's better than Saka. Van Dijk's better than Saliba. Blah, blah, blah. Like, these things, they matter. I'm saying in the player's eyes. If you are a random player playing in Germany, you would rather play next to Van Dijk than next to Saliba. That's just how life works, bro. Honestly, you guys are so sensitive. Get it together. For the entirety of my life, you're more attractive. The 5 years, I'm more attractive than you. You want to bitch about? It's okay. I've only been more attractive than you 5 years. You don't have to moan. Unbelievable.
I'm going to come back to some other talking points in a bit, but Arsenal have just made it official. They have re-signed William Saliba. He will remain at Arsenal now. That's another big bit of business, really, that's been done by Arsenal. Arsenal fans rate him as one of the best young centre-backs in world football. It's a phenomenal piece of business to keep him, and it's them, again, 10 million a year. So putting big money behind their players now. Arsenal behaving like a giant club. They've got Timber and they have Rice done and complete. They're going to be a serious, serious threat next year to City, aren't they?
100%. See, Arsenal fans, I'm about to speak positively about your club. So if you would just put away the tissues that you've been crying on and actually listen with your ears, because I've given credit where it's due. I think renewing Saliba's contract is a fantastic decision. I think he's the third best young centre-back in the world. I think with Saliba, he's definitely someone that we saw this season when he kind of was missing from the team. It affected Arsenal negatively. And I think this is why signing Timber would be like a massive, massive upgrade on the likes of Holding, because when you have Timber coming in, it kind of removes away what Holding is not good at. There was an Arsenal fan actually saying that there's probably a club that's coming up that would want a Rob Holding or a Maguire, players like that, because they defend with deep blocks. It helps them. But a club like an Arsenal, like a Liverpool, like a City, the likes of Holding doesn't work at their clubs. So I think, for me, renewing Saliba's contract is a massive decision, and it's more steps in the right direction. I think people are disrespecting Arsenal. They're 100% disrespecting Arsenal. People are speaking about Arsenal Football Club that they won't be serious next season. I think Arsenal Football Club are 100% going to challenge next season. People are going over the top. People are going like, Arsenal are going to be in a top 4 race. I think that's probably based on hope more than the whole me and United thing. But I think Arsenal are 100% going to challenge next season. And I think they'll get involved in this title race. The one thing I will say, though, is with Arsenal now, it kind of depends who they sell. Because Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, that's a midfield and a half. That is a deadly midfield. But then if you remove Partey, you've got to go get a replacement. Is the replacement as good as him, etc., etc., etc.? So for me, the only question mark is on kind of who you sell now. And the big risk, because Arteta took a massive risk this summer, and it's kind of gonna either make him or break him, and that's the Havertz signing. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Rice and Timber are fantastic signings. I have no reason to back Havertz. I have no reason to say he's going to be a good signing for Arsenal. I think he's going to flop. I don't think he's going to do well. So for me, I look at 2 out of 3 signings. I'm like, very, very, very good signing. And I think Arsenal is going to contend. I think it's going to be a 3-way title race next season. Liverpool, Arsenal, and City. So yeah, those are the 3.
Look, I've seen a lot of people this week. I've seen the Salt come out for Arsenal again, and it's just the whole letting Xhaka go, you're letting your experience go, you're letting a quality player leave. How are you going to replace him in the dressing room? But the ball. Listen, Havertz may not be as good as him in some people's eyes, but he's won things that Xhaka's not even touched. Declan Rice has won things that Xhaka has not even touched, like he's won a European trophy and is a better leader. I think Arsenal are doing some serious business. I think the renewal of Saliba is massively important. He's such a good player. Like Man United, when it got delayed, they had to renegotiate. Like Man United got involved because they were like, "Look, bring this guy in." He feels like he's the heir in France to that of Varane. But there was no way United were taking him away. He's a phenomenal player. I still think Arsenal need to bolster a little more. I think they need a bit more in attack to be
I
able to
agree.
give Saka a bit of a rest, and I think they'll address that later on in the window personally.
And they might need a midfielder if they sell Partey. That's why I told you it matters if they sell him or not.
Yeah, but I think they will. I think they'll go for a Lavia. There's talk of Tchouaméni. Again, I think Lavia's far more likely than Tchouaméni. But if Tchouaméni's connected to Mbappe, I think Madrid may need to sell him if they have to go and get Mbappe this summer. And they may not have to go and get Mbappe if nobody else comes in for him. But if somebody else comes in and starts to turn his head. So I think there's loads of moving parts there. But I think Arsenal are going to be really good next year. Now they've got all these deals. It's really weird as well because their transfer window feels like it's almost over. And we're only on the 7th of July. But yet they've got 3 massive pieces of businesses done. The question mark does come over Kai Havertz, though. And again, just like Mason Mount and Man United, I've been watching some Mount stuff recently, and I'm just excited to see how my manager's going to try and make it work. I think Arsenal fans feel that way as well. I think they agree with you that they don't expect him to do well, but they trust their manager. And if you trust your manager, there's the element of, where's he going to fit?
There's trust and then there's blind faith, though.
No, blind faith is saying he's going to be.
If Klopp signed Mount, I trust him. I would have been against it. I spoke against it. There's video evidence of me saying it. So it's just what I just don't see it in Havertz. I just don't. I'm sorry, I don't. And you spoke on them letting go of experience. That's a very valid point, and I agree with you. And I think maybe Xhaka would, in terms of this. Remember earlier on when we were talking about ability, he's a lot more available than Partey. So maybe that is a thing, but. If they sign Tchouaméni, Terry, then we've all just got to go like, yo, these guys are on some next level shit. Because Tchouaméni, Rice, and Odegaard, lock it off, man. That would be better than City's midfield.
Mate, it'll be huge, and it would be better. It would be better in my opinion. But I think what's interesting about it from an Arsenal point of view is everyone I see calling them out, you're losing your experience. I'm like, guys, you're missing out on the greatest comeback. And that's why I can't do the hypocrisy. We can't call their midfield a bunch of underachieving bottle jobs in Partey and Xhaka, and then say you're ruining your team by kicking out the flops and the failures and the engine room. People say the most important part of the team is the midfield, but we say they're flops and they collapse and they don't get over the line. So the Arsenal are replacing those players with what they think are better players. And we're saying you're getting rid of your experience, you're getting rid of your know-how, you're going to go backwards. So so are they bottle jobs? Are they flops? Are they overrated players or not? And that's the problem. I see Arsenal fans snapping. I'm like, you've got a perfect comeback there that ends a debate. Again, get me on TalkSport, I'll ruin them all. I'll just ruin them. It's so easy because I remember what it is that they've said. You can't call it. People did it to Man United last year. You're going to finish 10th because you've got a crap squad. We've come 3rd. Yeah, but you should with that squad. I've got you all because I've got the evidence of what you all tweeted and said at the beginning of the season. I'll get you. Like, especially you, Hassam. You're the worst at that.
I could tell you. You know that tweet came back to bite me in the ass, and they want me to make a prediction again. Hey, I'm gonna make it again. I could care less. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it, and I'll predict honestly what I think is gonna happen. We will see.
Yeah, that makes an interesting one. Let's look at some of these super chats here. First one says, Sam, you can't use logic when talking to Arsenal fans. They celebrate small things. Terry, don't speak negative about Arsenal. My brother needs that Lambo. See, Nabil, that's just your way of deflecting from the fact that you lose every debate with me. And this guy always gives me shit, but he also private messaged me the other day saying he's in England soon. He'd like to meet me and say hello. So, yeah, we can do that. One of my biggest.
What's the reference to his brother needing the Lambo?
He's put me needing a Lambo. He thinks I'm only nice about Arsenal to make money, but we don't understand. Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. I say what I think.
Nabil, you're an asshole, man. This guy. Look at this guy.
The bit that's funny about it is, you see what I just said there, though. My reason I don't join the Arsenal hate bandwagon is because then when I defend my own club, I'm called a hypocrite. And the thing for me that I can't. If I get called out on being a hypocrite, and you're right, I'll admit to it and go, damn, I'm wrong. I can't be a hypocrite. I can't do the whole, I saw Liverpool fans that were like, "Oh, Mount's a baller. United get him, and suddenly he's trash." I can't behave like that online. I've got children that may see it one day. Hassam, I get you about Arsenal fans. However, we need to stop telling a fan. Sorry, we need to stop telling a fan base that's been bagged on and been the butt of jokes for over a decade to be quiet. At this point, it's expected.
Tevin, that's a solid point, and I hear you. And I'm not telling you to like stop expressing your emotions or anything. I'm just saying let's call a spade a spade. Same way, 20 years ago, I would have said Arsenal are more attractive regardless of our Liverpool finish. Just gonna say the opposite now. So until you prove yourself, you actually win something, you get success based on this current project, then the attraction level is never gonna rise. It's just as simple as that. And listen, you guys have expressed your emotions, but you are a bit sensitive, though. I'm gonna be honest.
Hey guys, every club has its crazy fans. With Arsenal on the up, our crazy fans are getting a bit loud. Just brush the nonsense aside. I enjoy it. It's fun. Like I don't get why people get angry. I've seen we're going to play a clip in a minute. Actually, we'll play the clip now. It's worthwhile. I've seen Chelsea fans get angry about this, but I just find it funny. Take a look here at Johnny Minerals, and someone sent him in. I'll build it up for you. Someone sent him in a super chat saying how well they think Mount will do at United and how the Old Trafford crowd will serenade him. Take a look.
Of him while the Stretford end serenades him. Fucking hell, man. Fucking hell. You know what it is? Like, he's going to be loved at United. Yeah? He's going to be fucking loved at
He's gonna be loved. I had to stop it because the swearing goes on a bit much. But he's so angry that he thinks that he's gonna do well at Man United. Like, but some Chelsea fans are like, it's embarrassing. I love it. There's just let people express themselves and do what they want to do. Like, criticize the opinion or whatever. But I hate the kind of let's shut it down and ignore. Don't ignore them. Let's help the industry. Let's keep it going. This year says, when we are optimistic, we are delusional. Every time we say something to defend our club, we are sensitive. We can't win.
Terry, I don't want to repeat the same answer for the 7th time, honestly.
No, I think we've already... but the thing is, it comes down to being excited. The Football Terrace has a lot of Chelsea fans that watch us. But since they fell off, they've been very quiet. They're not really here. They start the season off well, win their first 3, 4, 5 games. They'll all be back. If Arsenal start the season poorly and lose 3 of their opening 5, they'll dwindle away. This is the way it goes. Like, I'm just used to it. You didn't even read the comment. Liverpool's world-class players are on the way out. Arteta and co will improve. The near future trajectory could see Arsenal, I think it means surpass Liverpool in attractiveness.
Yeah, they could. And you're talking about future, but I'm talking about right here, right now. I'm talking as of 7th July 2023, right now. Right now, Liverpool are more attractive. And when you say Liverpool's world-class players are on the way out, my brother, this is not FIFA, this is real life. Just because a player hits 30 doesn't mean he's done. With the sports science, with the way football is developed, with the way football is headed, and now players can play till they're 31, 32, 33, 34. And by the way, what tells you a player like Salah, for example, who doesn't drink, who takes care of his body, who's available a lot of the time? I'm not going to jinx him. Inshallah, he continues to be available and never gets injured. But players like that, what makes you think that they're going to fall off? What reason is Alisson going to fall off for? Like, honestly, like, it's just, we have to be realistic. Trent, who's a world-class player, he's still young. He ain't going to fall off. Fabinho, fair enough. I agree with you. Thiago, fair enough, I agree with you, but that's why we're replacing those positions, and the others can become world-class within due time. So for me, this whole conversation is like regarding players falling off. Just because a player hits 30 doesn't mean that his career is over or something. Like, we've got to stop with that mindset. Lewandowski had his best ever season age 35. What stops Salah from doing that if he's serious? He can do it.
This year says, big up Terry. Arsenal are back. Come on, you gooners, is what Phil says. Arsenal fans need to remember it's still 20 years and still not won the league.
Thank you.
Nabil says, I want Arsenal to win because I can't see City doing 4 or Liverpool winning the league. But it's again, we are talking about Arsenal, elephant in the tree, and they are an elite Spurs. Yeah, I want Man United to win it personally. But yeah, if I could pick someone other than Liverpool and Arsenal, if Arsenal and Liverpool and City, and it isn't Man United, then it would probably it wouldn't be personally. It's whoever can do it. Yeah, I don't want anyone to win it but Man United. Starting a channel, how can I get on? When the match reactions start again, we're going to start taking more people on, my friend. If Arsenal drop off, it will be hilarious.
It will be.
It will be. It will be. It will be. And we'll all be laughing. I love optimism, Terry, but United's not strengthened pound for pound with other top 4 contenders. We get top 4 challenge. Looks difficult to me. Yeah, look, I think we have. I think we are strengthening pound for pound. I believe that Mount will be a success. I believe Onana will make us 10 points better. I believe other players of ours, such as Anthony, as an example, will go to another level next season for us. I believe there'll be a big improvement in Man United this year. I really do. I'm very optimistic about the new season. I trust the manager. I trust our direction. We're going to be dangerous next season. Is Emery a better manager than Poch? He's more successful.
That's a good question. That needs a bit of... I think probably, yeah. I would say Unai Emery is better than Poch.
Yeah, and
Unai Emery had more difficult jobs as well.
Yeah, I agree. Poch saying he's a better manager since he left Tottenham. So far, so good for Poch. Hopefully, the board back him fully. How are you doing, Nathaniel? Hope you're well. Look, Chelsea are an interesting one because we were saying that Chelsea haven't. We're going to come back to Arsenal a little bit later, so stay with us, people. Chelsea haven't signed anyone significant yet, but they are obviously the Casado deal's going on. Dybala's now being linked, 10 million pounds. Do you think they need some players of the sort of the age and profile of a Dybala to help these kids that they've signed?
Dybala would be such a Chelsea signing as well because they just love technicians who can't put the ball in the back of the net. So that's kind of what they like at Chelsea. Chelsea, if the Caicedo thing doesn't happen for them, are kind of a little bit screwed. Because for me personally, I remember I came on this terrace and people still get annoyed by the comment that I made till this day. I said Chelsea don't need Caicedo, they need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. People got real angry. And I stick by that. Chelsea's biggest problem right now is putting the ball in the back of the net. And they don't have wingers who can do that consistently, and they do not have strikers who can do that consistently. So for me, I look at Chelsea Football Club, and if I'm in their place, I'm signing 3 forwards before I look at any other position. That entire front line stinks. Mudryk needs to improve massively. You need goal scorers. Chelsea Football Club need goal scorers. And when it comes to Pochettino, the project is a good project. Pochettino is someone who's been there, done that. It's just a different fan base, though. He has never worked for a fan base. I mean, besides PSG, but he's never really worked with a fan base like the Chelsea fan base, was just kind of so impatient. And with Chelsea fans, I think they kind of need to change their mentality too. They need to understand that they're no longer doing what they used to do. Now they're actually doing this entire thing differently. And that's why they got Pochettino. If they wanted to continue doing it, quote unquote, the Chelsea way, they would have just gotten in Enrique. They would have gotten in maybe one of those managers, Hansi Flick, for example. But they got in Pochettino because they do want to build a project. And their signings are project signings, youngsters, players who need time to develop. So I think Chelsea are kind of a little bit as well all over the place right now. As when it comes to signing Dybala, I think Dybala could be a good addition for Chelsea. But once again, Dybala, Mudryk, and whoever on that Chelsea, Nkunku, yeah, okay, on paper that sounds amazing, but who's going to score you the 20 goals you need? That's the issue, because I know Mudryk ain't going to bag 20. I know Dybala ain't going to bag 20. And, I know Nkunku ain't going to bag 20 in this league. So you need a consistent goal scorer. That's the problem. So I think Chelsea still have quite a few things to fix.
Man like Matt here says, we are patient when we see a vision. We gave Tuchel time, and when he was in his Don, we still, I think in his down period, we still backed him. They definitely need goal scorers. But do you not think that Poch can get the Mykhailo Mudryks, the Sterlings scoring again? Do you not think it was just a collapse of confidence really that happened?
He can improve them, but okay, Terry, let's just give a realistic prediction, right? What would you say is a Mudryk good season next season in terms of GA? A good season. Not amazing, not crap, just
20 to 25 in all comps.
Yeah, but do you think even that is 20 GA for Mudryk? Do you think that's do you think he could get that? 25 GA?
I think he could if he start. It's all about your start. So let's just say Mudryk plays 50 games. I mean, well, they've got no European football, so it might be less than that. He's probably going to play more 45 to 50 games. He could. I think he could get 20. But the thing is, if you could get, let's just say less than, let's say 15. If for instance, Mudryk can get 15, and
even you just removed 5 directly after thinking about it.
The reason I'm doing that is if he can get 15 and Madueke can get 15, you can start spreading that amongst their team. That's what sometimes you don't need one person getting 45, 50. If everybody's picking up 15 to 20, they'll be okay. And the amount of chances they missed last year, I just don't believe that they're as bad as the performances made us think they were.
No, I agree with you. And even the idea I agree with, but even when you look at an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a City, they always had at least someone who could put the ball in the back of the net at an elite level. Salah, Sterling for City when he was banging for 2-3 seasons. You've got even like, by the way, this was also a part of Arsenal's kind of a little bit of like downfall this season. Like they needed someone to put the ball in the back of the net. I'm not saying they need a striker who's going to score 30 goals and that's it. Of course, others need to contribute. But do I see someone at least getting them like 17, 18 Premier League goals? I would say no. That's my thing.
No,
so like,
I think they need a Vlahovic, someone of those levels.
Yes,
I mean, the thing with Jackson is, I'm not going to lie, Jackson is a complete unknown entity to me. I don't know enough about him. I haven't read too many great things. I've read great things that Chelsea blogs and articles have said since he signed, but I haven't read too much that was great prior. And I always, whenever I look at scouting reports, I always say, read them before your club was linked. Read them before your club signed him, because we all have fans. Everyone will always try to embellish in the truth or an opinion on a player.
Embellish, what a word.
Yeah, it's a great word. Like, that's what I always say this to people. I've been saying it for years in the test. Say like we're linked to Hojlund. If I read a scouting report about Hojlund, I read them from a year ago before he was linked to Man United, rather than one that was written by a Man United website 2 weeks ago, because they'll embellish on the facts and they'll exaggerate bits and they make it sound better than it is. And it's never a true reflection, if that makes sense, because bias creeps in, and especially when it's done in that way. Equally, if they're a publication that typically is horrible about your club, they're probably going to play it down a little bit. So go for something more neutral prior. But yeah, look, Chelsea
before your club was even linked to him, type thing. That's what you need to find as well.
Yeah, but I do think with Chelsea as well, though, on top of some goal scorers, I think they need some older players. I think they need 2 or 3 players that come in of.
But they're getting rid of their older players like that.
I know, and that's going to be in terms of listen, they're not winning the league next year, whatever they do. But to make the top 4, which I think is a plausible target, they've got to add some experience, more experience in.
I agree.
You need that balance. And if he was 5 years younger, I'd say go and sign James Milner. They need a player like him. They need a player like Dybala. They need some players that have been there, done it, and won the team. They're linked to Vlahovic. Bring him in. He's only 23, 24, but that's still experienced enough. He's been at World Cups. He's played in the Champions League. He understands things. He's been through turmoil this year at Juve. He gets what playing under the spotlight means. I just think Chelsea need a little bit more of that added to their team. They've got Chilwell and James, and they've got Silva, and they'll have, of course, Sterling unless he leaves. But I do think they need some older players in the team. I get why they've sold certain older players and got rid of them. I get it. But I think you might just need that little bit more. Leeds United in the late 90s tried to do a class of 92. They tried to bring kids through. Their problem was it was all kids. They didn't have enough of an experienced core around them, and it fell away. They got to a Champions League semi. There's some title pushes. They didn't quite have enough. You look at Barca's young team, United's young team. It had a core of experienced pros right through the middle, leading them. No Chelsea fan should be looking at your kids 21 and under again. You're going to win this the league. It should be the experienced players that are your anchors, your foundation, and those younger players play off them. If you get that mixture right, this Chelsea team could develop a very dangerous side over the next 12 to 18 months. There's no doubt about that in my mind, but they've got to bring in.
It needs time, though. It needs time. That's the thing. Do you think the Chelsea fans would give them time? That's my thing. Like, it's just how do I see Chelsea giving? Because Chelsea fans are the polar opposite of giving a manager time. That's my thing.
But they will for Poch. And do you know why they will for Poch? Because whether Poch wins them the Premier League or not, they're going to play better football. And when you play attractive, beautiful football, you get more time. If you're in a relationship, it's going to sound, it's right or wrong. If you're a girl or a guy and you're in a relationship with your partner, and your partner, say you look at yourself, I'm a 6 out of 10. But just say, for instance, you've been fortunate enough and you're dating someone who's a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, aesthetically they're beautiful, and everybody's a bit looks at you and you're out, and all your mates are like, mate, have you done that? She's amazing. Or if you're a woman, all your girlfriends are like, oh my God, that's the most beautiful man ever. You will put up with a little bit more of their shit when they look like that than if you look at them and you like them, but they're not that great, and everyone says you shouldn't be with them. You can put up with them more. You put up with a lot more. And I feel like when it comes to, if the football's pretty, if the football's attractive, you can put up with the results. You can be a little bit more patient because by the way, fans, especially the tacticos, like, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. No, you just see the ball moving nicely. They're given more time. So I do think what's it called? Pretty privilege. That is the word for it. Pretty privilege.
Pretty privilege.
And it's true. If there is pretty privilege when it comes to football, he'll get time. The issue was when it came to Potter, it wasn't that nice to look at when everybody thought it would be. Again, if they're in 12th place, he'll get no time. They have to also grow and be further up the league. But yeah, it's yeah, it's true. It's true. Someone said it's not a good analogy. It's a great analogy in my opinion. It depends. Maybe the people saying it's not a great analogy have never had a good-looking girlfriend or boyfriend, so they don't get it. But it's true. It's very true. There's a few super chats that have come in here. Nathaniel says Chelsea main striker targets are Moani, Lautaro, Martinez, and Vlahovic. So one of them will be coming. You'll sign I think you'll sign a main level striker. 100%. 100%. This here says, can we discuss yesterday's point? Arsenal need to win a major trophy in the next 5 years. You complain about Spurs fans not having the right expectations. Then what the F was that? Yeah, that was an Arsenal fan saying he wants at least one title in the next 5 years.
Next 5 years. The 5 years is too much time. It's just too much time. Too much time. And it's just like I just 5 years. Like, I don't know, what are they trying to build Constantinople? Like, you've got to win soon, bro. I think Arsenal Football Club need to win right now the Champions League or the Premier League. They need to win one of those. Like, it's as simple as that. All this give people time, blah, blah, blah. It's just, nah. They need to win something soon. I'd say this year as well. And by the way, Arteta, there's pressure on him. Like, we can't push it to the side. Like, it's just a nothing. Like, there is pressure on the guy because of the amount of money they've spent. Money equals pressure. That's just how life works. I know for a fact if we signed Colwill and Lavia for 130 million and our total spend is like 250, Klopp's going to have extra pressure on him. That's just how life works. You spend that much money, you have pressure on you to perform.
100%. This here says, take it from Aguna. Our experienced players fouled us in the final stretch of 4 seasons in a row. Also, we who in his right mind could say Havertz and Rice are inexperienced.
I'd say Havertz is inexperienced outside the UCL. Like, I think Premier League winning experience, he don't have it. And with Rice, I'd say the same. Outside knockout competitions, he wouldn't have like experience like that. Like outside, I'm saying outside that, like, it's just title race. He don't have that experience. So that experience matters as well.
No, I understand that. When it comes to Arsenal and Liverpool are both looking at, and Chelsea are all looking at one of the same players, Lavia. £50 million deal. It hasn't really progressed in the last week or so, like many people thought it would. Where do you see him ending up?
Too much money, 50 million. I agree with all three clubs. If they say 50 million, it's too much money. Spoke to Lavia's personal friend, actually. And I'm not an ITK or anything. You guys know this. I just say what I like know. And Tukaskan reported in the media as well. I know for a fact Klopp and Lavia have spoken. And like Lavia obviously would want to move to Liverpool Football Club, would want to become the best DM in the world. I think this is where obviously my whole attractive thing that I stated has to come to fruition. However, Arsenal fans, if you put the money on the table and Liverpool don't, that does not mean you're more attractive. That means you put the money on the table. So let's just get that straight out the way directly. But I think Romeo Lavia is 100% needed at Liverpool Football Club. I think Romeo Lavia would definitely start at Liverpool Football Club. And I think he would be the absolute right now, the much needed final kind of piece in the puzzle. With Chelsea, I think he'd just be like with Chelsea Football Club. It'd just be a problem. Him going to Chelsea, I think, would probably be a bad career decision. And I say that the same for Caicedo. I think Chelsea right now are probably not the best of clubs to go to. Maybe Pochettino changes that a little bit, but it's a bit different. With Liverpool Football Club, he'd start at us. For Arsenal, I don't think he starts. And it depends who they sell. The only way Lavia probably starts for Arsenal is if they sell Partey. Maybe in that world, he starts for them. But for me, I do see probably Lavia ending up at Liverpool Football Club if we put the money on the table, of course.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will only go for him if Thomas Partey leaves. So I think that if he stays, then I think it gives you a free run. Chelsea is interesting because they obviously want Caicedo first. They want to focus on that and they want to get it done. But I think if you add Lavia to Liverpool, I think wherever he goes, I think he's such a star player. Look, City fans are not really going to care. They're treble winners. They've just brought Kovacic in. They've got a brilliant midfield. I do think, though, it might be 2 or 3 years down the line, they might regret them allowing him to leave. I think he's that good. For his first year in the Prem, to be at an unstable club in relegation like Southampton, and for him to put the performances in that he did, he's a sensational talent. He really
100%. 100%.
He is here. We need the Prem or Champions League next year, realistically, as I can't see him getting much time if he fails to win next season. I think that's regarding Arsenal winning the league.
No.
You keep your attractiveness argument, but for me, as long as we land players, that's all that matters, is what Dev says here.
Yeah, of course. That's a good argument. But what I'm saying, Dev, is if you put the money on the table and Liverpool don't, that does not mean that you're more attractive. That means that you're more willing to spend money. Those are two completely different.
Langland Sweet here says, agree, Terry Miles better than Calvin Phillips. But he had a much better season. But again, if you guys could get Calvin Phillips back to his Leeds, at Leeds, Calvin Phillips was great. But
Calvin Phillips had probably, I'd say Calvin Phillips, the season before he joined City, played better than Lavia this year. I'm going to be honest with you. Like Calvin Phillips, guys, remember just last summer, Phillips versus Rice was a conversation. Let's not push that to the side. We were actually debating who's better, Phillips or Rice. I was actually a Phillips guy because I was saying Phillips is better on the ball. I think he had that, like they don't call him the Yorkshire Perlo for no reason because he can pass that ball. So and that's why City signed him. So I think it's a conversation. It's no longer a conversation because Rice obviously became better and better and better. But I wouldn't let's not disrespect Calvin Phillips now. Like he's a nobody. He at Leeds he was banging, bro.
Yeah, he was, and maybe that's what they've got to do. This here says Lavia is overrated. Rice and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg are double the player. Lavia is not very good. Everyone is suffering from recency bias.
I love how you snuck in Højbjerg like we wouldn't notice. I have no idea how you put Højbjerg in that list. Højbjerg is like a chihuahua, and he ain't all that. Højbjerg is not like, I wouldn't sign Højbjerg on a free.
Deluded Liverpool fan dreaming of Colwill.
I never said we're gonna sign him. I've already said it's too much money. Go back to the Liverpool section, Zani. But thank you for the super chat, my brother. I appreciate it.
What's going on with Mbappe? Where's he gonna go? Most likely
Liverpool.
It's going to be Real Madrid. It's going to be Real Madrid. I can't see him going anywhere else. Speaking of players leaving places, though, take a listen to this. I want to play this to you. This is Rio Ferdinand having a pop at Jamie Carragher regarding Saudi.
Hey, Jamie Carragher, where are you, man? I heard a lot of talk, a lot of negativity about Saudi. Oh, Bernardo Silva, I can't believe it. Oh, it's a disgrace. It needs investigating, this league, etc. Steven Gerrard's gone. He used to carry his boots and his bag at Anfield to games. Your boy has gone over there. I've not heard a peep out of you. I've not heard how disappointed you are. I want to see him say, I can't believe Stevie's gone there. I'm actually buzzing for any of the guys that have gone out to Saudi. Because it's Saudi, people are going mad. But all these other countries and leagues over the years have done exactly the same thing.
I like the call out. Again, he's always very quiet when it comes to Gerrard, isn't he, Carragher? Like he didn't criticize him when he was in relegation. He hasn't criticized him for going Saudi. And that's why I say people have got to keep their mouth shut because you end up looking silly. You end up looking silly.
Carragher is a shit pundit. I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna just come out and say it. I'm not here to just BS by way around. First of all, nor England nor Italy, no one on earth, Spain, no one has the keys to football. Everyone's allowed to improve their league. Everyone's allowed to make their league better. I've got no problem with any of the players going to Saudi. Remember, we spoke earlier on that money is a motivation, guys. Remember, football players, they have a kind of a limited kind of time in which they can make money. So if you can make a whole lot of money, and by the way, a lot of football players as well are responsible for 50 family members. So they can't, money is not a nothing. Money is important. And Saudi Arabia, they want to develop their league. They want to turn their league into a powerful league that's being watched around the world. And they have every right to do that. I mean, no one was upset at the Premier League when they were doing that. So why should you be upset at another league? And if the players are not being forced to go there, the managers are not being forced to go there, they're going there willingly, because they're seeing exciting projects, they're seeing an exciting league, they're seeing something they could do. And for me, the Chinese league tried to do it kind of 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe failed at it. So let's see what Saudi Arabia do. Maybe they learn from that kind of whole Chinese experiment, what they do differently. The one thing I will say with Saudi is, the one thing they're doing is they're also signing players in their prime. So they're not just signing random guys. They're signing the Neveses, the Silvas. Koulibaly could still give you 4, 5, 6 years with these. They're signing actual top quality players right now. No one's going to sit here and convince me that Silva wouldn't start for 99% of the European clubs anyway.
Where it gets really dangerous is if they start going to the championship and taking good championship players. Because the one thing I'd say about the Saudi league is you have these stars. It's like the MLS is like this. You get the MLS and you get a very good player that goes there, but you look at the standard of the majority of your squad, very low. You suddenly start going to the top Scottish teams, the championship teams, and taking their best players and offering them, say they earn 10 grand a week in the championship, but you say, look, we'll pay you 100 grand a week. You raise the level, and then I think the stars that will come over will enjoy it more because they're playing with better players. I don't think you're going to right now be able to take 23, 24, 25-year-old top European players, but you could definitely take players in the bottom half of the league tables and top-level players in the championship and equivalents. That's where they should be aiming as well, but I've got no issues with it. At the end of the day, they're allowed to spend their money on what they want. We do what they're doing to Portugal. We do what they do to lots of Europe, where we've got more money than them. So we pay what we want. I'm just, again, my issue is this. Look, people will say that Rio's a hypocrite for this. I'm just talking about his point. Jamie Carragher, I actually like him as a pundit. The problem is that when it comes to his friends, he doesn't say too much. And look, I had to go at Gary Neville for it, when he wasn't calling out Ollie in the right way, when Ollie needed to be criticized. It's annoying because we pay for these pundits. They're paid a salary either through the TV licenses we pay in England for the BBC, or and the like, or they're paid for by us on Sky Sports or BT Sports subscriptions. So we pay their wages. I want to hear unbiased, honest opinions, not he's my mate, so I'm not going to say anything. That's not, for me, that's not what you get paid for personally. So, it's not they're not like YouTubers where the content's free. You know what I'm saying? It's free. Yeah, you ain't got to pay for it. But at the end of the day, we pay. Yeah, it's crazy to me. This here says FIFA is also pushing for a World Cup tourney for clubs. Will get interesting and more competitive. Yeah, it certainly will.
I like how FIFA and UEFA were so anti-Super League, and then they just went and did the same thing, but their own spin on it. The Club World Cup is going to have 30-something.
Well, it's like banks. Banks don't support,
what the hell? Who needs all this extra football?
It's true. Banks and governments don't support crypto because it isn't regulated by them. But if they could regulate and make money off it, they're supported tomorrow. It's all just about
tomorrow.
If they can make money out of it directly, they will. But there we go. Listen, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's tuned into the show today. It means a great deal to me. Back over the course of the weekend with some content for you as ever. Sunday Straight Facts. Sav is back from his holiday, so he's on with us. But Sam, always a pleasure to sit and talk football with you, bro.
Thank you for having me as per usual. Big up to the Terrace audience. Make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing. Plenty of content coming your way, man. Big up to the Terrace. I love this channel. Even though the Arsenal fans here are sensitive, I still love coming to this channel, man, and always doing my thing, man. Love
it. Everybody take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all